over several stories that are of great importance that I don't believe are getting enough attention. So let me go ahead and jump into those. I hope you're having a wonderful, amazing day. Jan Crawford, a veteran CBS News reporter, has openly criticized the mainstream media landscape by declaring President Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline as the most underreported story of 2024. So this nationally recognized CBS reporter says, "Are you kidding me? The biggest story that didn't get enough attention in 2024 was the fact that Joe Biden has brains that are made of mush, that the guy running the country and the military literally has no brains in his head." Now, according to Jan Crawford, the mainstream media missed or intentionally ignored signs of Biden's deteriorating mental acuity until they were glaringly apparent during his televised debate against Donald J. Trump. This lack of coverage, she argues, was a significant oversight that potentially swayed public opinion and the election's outcome. Crawford's remarks underscore a broad critique of media bias, suggesting that the reluctance to report on Biden's cognitive health might have been influenced by a desire to disadvantage Donald Trump, only to backfire by damaging the media's own credibility with American viewers. Now, the narrative has been echoed across social media platforms where users have expressed frustration over what they perceive as media cover-up, ultimately questioning the integrity and reliability of mainstream media news outlets. Let me know down below. I believe I already know the answer, but don't you agree with Jan that the cover-up of Biden's mental health in order to disadvantage Donald Trump is a travesty for the American people, and it proves you can't trust the mainstream media, and they were trying to influence an election outcome? Let me know in the comments down below what you think, but I believe Jan Crawford is absolutely onto something. All right, now the big news story is that President Jimmy Carter has died in the presence of his family in Georgia. He was 100 years old, the oldest living president. This means that there are only 5 living American presidents right now: Bush, Clinton, Obama, Biden, and Trump. Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of the United States, served from 1977 to 1981. Born in 1924 in Plains, Georgia, which is where he went back to live. He was known for his background as a peanut farmer, his service in the U.S. Navy, and his commitment to human rights and global peace. His presidency was marked by significant achievements by the Camp David Accords, which brought peace between Egypt and Israel, the establishment of the Department of Energy and the Department of Education. However, his term was also challenged by economic issues, the Iran hostage crisis, as well as a failed re-election bid against Ronald Reagan. Now, after leaving office, Carter's influence grew through his humanitarian work, notably with the Carter Center, where he focused on human rights, democracy, and disease eradication. In 2002, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for his efforts. Carter faced numerous health challenges in his later years, including cancer, which he recovered from, and numerous falls, which led to being put into hospice. Carter passed yesterday at the age of 100, and it was announced by his son. Now, many Democrats are saying that Jimmy Carter is the man. Listen to this. This is so messed up. By the way, I think Jimmy Carter was an incredibly decent human. He was one of the only people that didn't enrich himself off of the presidency. He didn't go around charging $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 for a 1-hour speech. He actually went back to his hometown and did humanitarian work, building homes for the impoverished for the rest of his life. So again, not a great president, but a very decent human being. Now, but listen to this. Many modern day Democrats are saying Jimmy Carter is the man because his funeral will take away praise and limelight from Donald Trump. They say it will fall just days after the certification of the Electoral College votes and a week or so before the presidential inauguration. Among Democrats, they plan to use their time while speaking on the mainstream media to praise Jimmy Carter and to bash on Donald Trump. I mean, is it me, or is this just like disgusting, right? They're saying, oh man, Jimmy Carter's the man, because now in his death, he gets to distract the American people and the mandate of Donald Trump by interrupting the mainstream media broadcasting. Dude, none of us care about the mainstream media, right? But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is this disgusting to you like it is to me? Like literally, they plan to, I mean, it's not even about praising Jimmy Carter. It's literally about using and abusing his death in order to distract people from Donald J. Trump. I mean, it's just so stupid to me. I mean, the Democrats, I mean, what a waste of time. However, this caught them off guard. President Trump had a very positive message about President Jimmy Carter, which made Democrats even more mad because they were expecting him to badmouth Jimmy Carter, and they would then use his words to attack him for the next 100 days. Let me show you exactly what President Trump said, and I'll just go ahead and read it to you. He said, I just heard the news about the passing of President Jimmy Carter. Those of us who have been fortunate to have served as president understand this is a very exclusive club, and only we can relate to the enormous responsibility of leading the greatest nation in history. The challenges Jimmy faced as president came at a pivotal time for our country, and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we owe him a debt of gratitude. Melania and I are thinking warmly of the Carter family and their loved ones during this difficult time. We urge everyone to keep them in your hearts and prayers. Now, a couple hours later, he went back on Truth Social and had this to say: President Jimmy Carter is dead at 100 years of age. While I strongly disagreed with him philosophically and politically, I also realized that he truly loved and respected our country and all it stands for. He worked hard to make America a better place, and for that, I give him my highest respect. He was a truly good man, and of course, he will be greatly missed. He was also very consequential, far more than most presidents after he left the Oval Office. Warmest condolences from Melania and I to this wonderful family. Now, many still found reason to criticize President Trump's words because he said that he was also very happy to see Jimmy Carter live long enough to have a president worse than him, referring to President Joe Biden. Now, I want to share with you guys what President Biden had to say, because Biden reacted to the words for Jimmy Carter, but took a veiled swipe at Donald Trump, saying that Carter had decency and wouldn't mock people, yet Biden regularly mocks Donald Trump all the time. So he's a hypocrite, and he's basically doing exactly what he says that Trump does to Donald Trump. Now, both men can be vicious with their words. Trump probably more vicious than even Joe Biden because Trump has a higher IQ and is funnier. But let me go ahead and show you what President Biden had to say over on this Fox News article. Now, let me just pull this up so that you guys can see it, and then I'll go through it with you. Okay, there it is. All right. Biden takes a jab at Trump while applauding Jimmy Carter's decency, shares fondest memories with the late president. All right, so basically, whether you like Jimmy Carter or Joe Biden, being president of the United States is a difficult task. However, Biden goes on to say that he is the reason that Jimmy Carter won, that his endorsement went a long way in helping Jimmy Carter win the presidency back in the late 70s. Biden also said, some look at Jimmy Carter and see a man of bygone era with honesty and character. faith and humility mattered, but I don't believe it's a bygone era. We'd all do well to try to be more like Jimmy Carter. I agree with this. He was a good Christian man who loved his family. He did a lot for the poor and to try to help the United States of America. But in the end, he didn't understand Washington, D.C. He didn't have people that owed him political favors. He didn't know how to negotiate. And so he made some bad decisions with Iran, with the energy situation, as well as giving away the Panama Canal for $1, which is what Donald Trump continues to bring up and says that he wants to get back, or at least have them lower the prices for going through with a ship. Now, again, Biden went on to say many, many positive things, saying that Jimmy Carter was a man of great decency. Okay, now let me share with you something that Charlie Kirk had to say about the passing of Jimmy Carter, because I believe it sums up what a lot of us believe. Jimmy Carter was a failed president, but a decent man who tried his best to serve America throughout his long and distinguished life. He was a sincere Christian, and nobody could ever accuse him of simply trying to loot the country and cash in like so many of today's Washington oligarchs. May he rest in peace. Now, let me know what you think about that, because I believe Charlie Kirk is onto something. Jimmy Carter, like Donald Trump, is one of the very few people who hasn't used his position to enrich himself. He went on to live a very moderate life. Donald Trump actually lost over $1 billion by being president of the United States. Meanwhile, George Bush, soaring wealth. Barack Obama, soaring wealth. The Clintons, soaring wealth. And the Bidens, well, we all know, based on a 200-page report, that they enriched themselves to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. Yet I believe Biden's legacy will go down as the worst president in American history, and somebody who sold out his country in order to enrich his family, and then used his presidential power to pardon those family members so that they could get away with the crime. But his reputation will not survive this crime, even if he doesn't end up in jail, which I don't believe he will. I believe even Donald Trump sees the necessity of allowing the country to heal and move forward. But I believe the Bidens deserve jail time for this treasonous behavior of selling out the country in order to financially enrich themselves. All right, now yesterday, I told you how it came out that both President Biden and President Trump were lied to regularly about important key aspects of the COVID-19 virus, the lockdowns, the origin of the virus, who funded it with taxpayer money, and the efficacy of fighting it with Big Pharma. Well, now new FBI Director Kash Patel has leaked in an interview with Glenn Beck who he believes is behind all of it. The new director said that he plans to expose the CIA as being behind covering up COVID-19 and covering for Dr. Anthony Fauci. He said Gina Haspel, as director of the CIA, authorized 6 case officers and intelligence analysts to be bought off so that they would change their assessment of the COVID origination. Institutional decision to spend taxpayer dollars to lie to the world where COVID came from, because it fit the narrative that Fauci and the media wanted out there, along with the CIA. So basically, Kash Patel is saying he's going to investigate the CIA's role in covering up taxpayer use of funds for gain of function in Wuhan, China, as well as the role of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, let me know over in the comments, do you believe that Dr. Fauci is going to get a preemptive pardon from Joe Biden? I do. I believe that they have to, in order to save not only the reputation of their biggest Democrat, Dr. Anthony Fauci, but they also have to cover up the CIA, and they also need to cover up So they need to cover up for Fauci. They need to cover up for the CIA, and they need to cover up for the fact that the mainstream media lied to us over and over and over again. I mean, they knew that there were different medicines that would help people, and yet millions of people died, most of them under Joe Biden, because the only way out was through Big Pharma's miracle shot in your arm, which didn't stay in your arm. It actually traveled to your internal organs because of liquid nanoparticles. And then the self-replicating virus went crazy, and lots of people died and got sick or were physically disabled, had strokes, had heart attacks, had panic attacks. All of this to cover up for Dr. Fauci, the COVID virus, and the CIA. Such a disgrace. I cannot wait for us to get to the truth. All right, now listen to this. You guys may or may not be bothered by this. To me, this is a little bit bothersome. Oh gosh, I hate these stupid ads. Look at that. Keeps covering up what I'm trying to show you. Okay, the DC Transportation Agency allowed the city of Washington, D.C. to put ads all over the city about taking out the trash and getting rid of MAGA voters, saying that MAGA voters were the most disgraceful, disgusting Americans in our country. Now it's come out, and DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, who helped cover up the January 6th Capitol breach that wouldn't allow the National Guard to go in, now she's trying to quickly cover this up so that people don't see that they allowed all of these advertisements all over Washington, D.C. to say horrible things about MAGA voters. Unbelievable. And then they wonder why we say that there is bias against conservative voters. Of course there is. It's called liberal privilege. All right, now I want to show you a photo here because this has me bothered. It probably will bother you. But the White House says, today I'm proud to announce nearly $2.5 billion in security assistance for Ukraine as the Ukrainian people continue to defend their independence and freedom from Russian aggression. So basically, the United States government is saying there's no more money for education. There's not enough money to do some of these infrastructure repairs, even though they passed a $1 trillion plus bill that caused high inflation. They're saying there's not enough money to help the people of Hawaii, Florida, or North Carolina. Yet here they go, giving away billions and billions of dollars, another $2.5 billion in security assistance to the people of Ukraine. Let me know your thoughts down below. For me, I'm starting to feel like we're getting fleeced, right? Like they're stealing our money, sending it to Ukraine. It's being put through the Ukrainian laundromat and being shipped back to these politicians. I believe in my heart of hearts that there are people in Washington, D.C. that are making millions and millions of dollars off of this disgusting war. Over 1 million people have died. Over 10 million have fled for their lives, and close to 100,000 Russians are dead. This war needs to end. Only Donald J. Trump seems concerned with ending it. But let me know over in the comments. What do you think about Biden, Department of Homeland Security, FEMA saying there's no more money for America, and then they turn around and give another $2.5 billion of your taxpayer money, your stolen taxpayer money, to the people of Ukraine? I've got nothing against Ukraine and I've got nothing against Russia, but I am sick and tired of my stolen tax money going to other nations and not to the American people. Let me know your thoughts. I love you guys. Please give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next video. Stay amazing.